Welcome to Rhodes, for centuries the medieval stronghold of the Knights of St. John. The Knights were established in Jerusalem around the year 1000. Originated as a hospital order, their mission from the Pope was to provide medical care to Christian pilgrims to the Holy Land. Over the Crusades, their mission evolved from medical to military, and they were contemporaries of the Templars. After the fall of Jerusalem to the Muslims in 1291, the Knights fled, first to Cyprus and then to Rhodes, where they built the impregnable Palace of the Grand Masters.
The Palace of the Grand Masters. This medieval fortress was actually begun in the 6th century and added on over the 1300s to 1500s by the Knights of St. John. Judy will pan around and you'll get a great view of the courtyard. The statues are much older than the palace. From here, the knights could defend the island. Pretty impressive, huh?
The interior is just as lovingly restored as the exterior. A huge plaque commemorates Mussolini, who led the renovation efforts in 1939 when Rhodes was under Italian control. I guess it's all part of the Grand Master complex. The walls are made from multicolored marble, and the floor is inlaid with fabulous mosaics. This one was my favorite. Can you guess why? I could well imagine, in days of yore, these same halls, lit by torches, echoing with the shouts of warriors demanding meats, mead, and wenches. There must be wenches. Adjacent to the castle is the Street of the Knights, where the knights lived and worked grouped by nationality. Judy poses outside the Inn of Spain and Portugal. No Inn of Latvia. Guess they were just too poor. The street dates back to the 15th century and has been lovingly preserved and restored. It's like walking back through medieval times. A walk through the old town of Rhodes reveals its diverse political, social, and economic history. We start at Hippocrates Square, just inside the city walls. The medieval fountain is Italian from the 1500s. At one time it was probably a well. Now it's a medieval birdbath. Judy attempted to communicate, but they could not even say, "Hey baby." The Palacio di Castellania is also Italian from the 1500s. I love the water spouts draining the roof. Part of it was later converted into a mosque under Turkish rule. Across town stands the dominating Mosque of Suleiman the Magnificent. the Ottoman Sultan finally drove the knights from the island in 1522 after a prolonged siege. I wonder who gave him the title Magnificent? Himself? His people? Maybe his wife. The clock tower is pretty modern, dating from only 150 years ago. Much of Old Town is crowded with tourists and souvenir shops. But off the beaten path, it's quieter and less congested. On a secluded side street stands the only remaining synagogue in Rhodes. As a center of commerce, Rhodes had a thriving Jewish population, many of whom fled the Spanish Inquisition. Sadly, most of them met an untimely death, as this memorial in the square of the martyred Jews attests. Unfortunately, the synagogue is open by appointment only and was closed, but I felt closer to my roots just sitting on the step. And for you New Testament fans, the ruins of an Italian church from the 13th century. Judy takes a break where the Christian pilgrims did on their way to the Holy Land. It's too bad. If those crusaders' wives had looked as good as Judy, they would have all stayed home and saved all those lives. And our pilgrimage to Rhodes is complete. As we head back to the boat, we can see why they call it the Island of the Sun.